Hey everyone, welcome back to Deanne Castro, Creative Memories Advisor. Borders, scrapbooking borders. I have another new one I wanted to show you today, and this one is using the new Autumn Harvest paper pack and kind of a combination of the new Sunflower, what's it called? Sunflower Fields paper pack. It's brand new. I'm so excited. I can't wait to show it to you. Okay, so here we go. Go down to my desktop here. This is using the Rustic Fence Border Maker cartridge. Now, it was available for years ago, it was available, and then it was discontinued. Now, with the new company, it came out recently, and it's sold out fairly quickly, but it will be back next year in 2024. So I wanted to show you how I used it so you guys can prepare if you don't have it yet for getting it when it comes back out again. So I used the, where'd it go? Oh, it's in this cartridge already. This is a Border Maker cartridge, and it is the Rustic Fence Border Maker cartridge on this top part. Then I used the Wildflower Border Maker punch. And this is low supply right now on the Creative Memories website. So if you want to get one of these, you need to get it really quickly. Jump on your advisor's website and make sure that you order one from her. If you do not have an advisor, I'm happy to help you out. You can go onto my website down here, thecreativememories.com/user/DM Castro, and you can get this Wildflower border punch before it's sold out. Then the last piece that I'm going to be using is the Zebra Stripe Border Maker cartridge. There we go. You can see that. And I used it to make the grass. We did have, a long time ago, this grass border maker cartridge. And when I made this, I realized how old this was and thought, oh, okay, now I got to come up with a new idea to show you guys. So I used the zebra stripe and then made it into grass and cut it with the wavy trimmer. Okay, so let's get started. I'll show you how I did this. First thing I want to do is I want to cut the Rustic Fence Border Maker cartridge, and I'm using the Hot Fudge cardstock on this to get started with. Okay, now for those who may not have seen these, this little mark here will line up with the marks on this cutter section that holds the paper. Okay, then the teeth on the bottom here will then line up and fit into these sections right here as you go along. Okay, so you slide the paper into this part right here, push it all the way up and push it down. The first one I like to pull out and then pull down and put back in and line it up. It just helps in case you have a little bit of a delicate or finicky border punch, and then it helps not clog up your punch. Okay, so there's the one piece cut. Now I'm going to cut this into about a 1 3/4 inch piece with my trimmer. So I'm going to put the paper in and use this side of my trimmer. 1 3/4 inches is right along that last line at the edge of the trimmer. Now I could have put it in the other way, but when I just have smaller pieces that I'm cutting, I like to put it in and measure it up against this side. Okay, so there's the one piece. Now I'm going to use this wood grain paper, which is part of Autumn Harvest paper pack. This is what's on the other side. And I love this, and So I had to use this on another part of the border just because I think it's so pretty. But we're going to use the wood grain on this side. And I forgot to show you the paper packs. Okay, so this is the Autumn Harvest paper pack, which I've shown you before that I've used one other time on these borders, but has super pretty fall colors on it. Then we have the new Sunflower Fields paper pack, and I think this is so pretty. We have two of these sheets that have the, look at these, aren't these gorgeous? They're just so pretty. So on the back, they have purple on two of them, and then you get two more that have brown on the back of them. So, and I'm going to show you these papers in making a page to put this border on a little bit later. Okay. Then we also have mat cards. And this one, I just added some stickers on. If you've seen Lanita Medina, sorry, it's Lanita Medina. She uses the mat cards and adds stickers and embellishments to make really fun titles and stuff for your pages. And so I just added some stickers and stuff onto this mat card. But there we've got all these super pretty colors with sunflowers and journaling boxes to go with this. And then we've got lots of really pretty stickers. So we've got the florals, the flowers and the sunflowers, the titles, and the 12-inch borders on these. So just had to show you those. I think they're so pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to take this wood grain paper and I'm going to do the same thing with this punch using that Rustic Fence border maker cartridge. So I'm going to slide it in here, line it up with this cartridge, put the magnet down so it holds it in place, and put this back up underneath. Okay, now I'm going to punch this one, line up the little knobs together. And we've got that one punched. Okay. Put this out of the way. And then I'm going to cut this one 1 3/4 of an inch also. Okay, I'm going to use this in a minute. This back over there. Now I'm going to adhere the two of these together. So I'm going to put some repositionable adhesive on the back of this one. And I'm going to put it on top of the brown and just offset it just a little bit so that the brown shows through and just gives it a little different dimension. Okay, so see how I've got that lined up on there? So the brown shows through, giving a little bit of a shadow. Okay, next I'm going to use the Wildflower border punch. And I'm going to use a piece of blue vellum. Now this is so pretty. My camera doesn't really show the color, but it's a really vibrant blue. And on the back, it's even darker. It's even prettier. So I'm going to use the dark side of this and punch a wildflower. For those of you who may not have seen it, I'm going to line the paper up with this black line right here, because I'm going to be pulling the paper through to the left. If I was going to pull it through to the right, I would line it up with this line right on this side. Okay, so I'm going to put it in here. Make sure the paper is pushed all the way to the back of this punch. Line it up with that black line and punch. Now I'm going to move it over and I'm going to cover up all of this blue here with the pattern that I just punched. And that lines it up for the next punch. Okay, so see I've covered up all of that blue with the punch that I just made. It's kind of hard to tell because I'm using blue on blue here, but line it up and punch it again. Now this I tend to pull out and put back in because those little flowers get kind of stuck in there if you try to slide them. Okay, we're just going to go straight across with this one. Okay, and that was all punched. So I'll move this out of the way. And this is a pretty heavy vellum, so you can hear it crinkling as I'm kind of smashing it up, trying to get it off here. Okay, so now these wildflowers, I'm going to trim at about 1.5. Now, all of these are really kind of arbitrary numbers. This 1.5, these 1 3/4, because it all depends on how wide you want your border to end up. But this is going to be about 1.5. And now I'm going to do the same thing with this one with the wildflower punch. So like this one over here. Okay, so there again, I'm going to line it up with a black line, push this straight against the back. And move it over to match the blue pattern on the left-hand side. Match it up again, make sure the back is pushed against the back of the paper. And we're going to punch a couple more times. And we'll be done with this one. So there's a lot of steps here, a lot of different punches, papers that we're using, but it's going to end up looking really cool when we're done. So this one, again, I'm going to cut at 1.5. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing with these two that I did with this. I'm just going to put these wildflowers on the vellum, and it'll give it just a little bit of dimension. The wildflowers will stand out a little bit better. I'm using the repositionable adhesive on this. Oh, I didn't get the very end here, so it stays down. Okay, so now I'm just going to move it over, offset this just a little bit so that the blue will give it a little bit of a shadow. Now, a few of these flowers, I want to pop up with some foam squares. So see how that just makes a little shadow behind that there? It's going to show up a lot better on this border with that blue behind it. So I'm going to take some little foam squares, and the flowers that stick up the highest, I'm just going to put a little foam square on it so that when I put it on the border, excuse me, this will pop these up and just make them stand out a little better. That one's not down far enough. I need to lift that up. There we go. And the last one's over here, right there. So I don't want these on the whole thing. I only want them on a select few of the flowers. Okay, so now I'm going to line this up and I'm going to bring the flowers down to about halfway down that fence. Make sure I get this edge close to the edge here. Oh, okay, so now the foam squares are going to stick through a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive underneath, hold the rest of it down. Could have put the adhesive on the back first, but I did that a little bit out of order. But can you see how it just pops it up just a little bit? Just gives it a little bit of extra dimension just on a few of the flowers. I didn't want all of it all popped up because I'm actually going to end up doing the grass that way. But it just gives it a different dimension. Okay, so now the last piece that we're going to cut, we're going to use an evergreen, I'm sorry, a dark green color. Make the edge straight. We're going to go back to the border maker cartridge. Put the dark green cardstock in here. Line it up against the edge. Sometimes the papers are a little tall or a little long, but it's not going to matter because it'll fit on the border just fine. But it'll pinch that edge. And sometimes I just don't like that, but it ends up looking just fine. Okay, so I'm done with this border punch. And I need to change my cartridge to the zebra stripes. And now I'm going to punch this in. Isn't that fun? I love this punch. It is so versatile. You can make a whole lot more than just zebras with this. Okay, now the bottom of this, I'm not going to cut straight off. I'm actually going to use the wavy trimmer. And I kind of eyeballed this, guys. Sorry. I'll see if I can figure out an actual size where I'm trimming it. I'm going to use this really wavy, not the lazy wave, but the wavy wave part on here. So I'm going to lift the handle up and I'm going to slide this up. Now it's going to cut right on this wave. And I want to center this so that it's pretty much the same cut all the way down. And what I'm looking at is there's a section on here. You have these numbers. See if I can get this close enough so you can see it. Okay, so there's a number 4 right here. The next square up is the number 3. And then you've got these grids. And then there's a little line right in between the two numbers. So what I'm going to do is line that paper up right at that line that's in between the two numbers because I want to be able to cut as much or as little of the top of this off as possible, but I still want to get it to where this piece, this solid piece, comes off as well. Okay, so that's where I have it lined up, and I do have it centered on there. I don't know if you can tell, the swell here is just underneath this solid part on the top. Okay, and it's like that all the way down. So I guess that's a kind of a 2 5/8. We got 2 5/8 because there's a 2 on this side right here. And then I'm just going to take this and I'm going to gently cut this across. If you do it too fast, like that, the piece gets kind of jumbled up and then ends up coming off, which is not a big deal because then you can fill it in with the pieces that were left over. But that's what I've come up with. Isn't that cool? So I think that's really cool grass. It works really well. Okay, then we have the extra piece. So now I'm going to cut the bottom of this in the same wave. And I don't need a whole lot. And so this is 1 inch, 1 inch. So I'm going to line this up. Here again, I'm just guessing, guys. Sorry about that. I'm basically lining this up right at the bottom of these pieces. Okay, and then I'm going to cut the lazy wave here again. So it's not going to give me a whole lot on the bottom, but I really don't want to make this border super wide. Okay. And we have that piece cut. Okay. That over there, I don't need it anymore. Now, to make it look a little more like grass, I'm going to take these larger areas and I'm just going to cut like a little wavy cut down them. Some of them aren't very, very wide, so I'm just going to leave them and then cut all the way down the border with the ones that are a little wider. Just to kind of make it look more like blades of grass. I don't know if it actually does that. I'm hoping it does. To me, it does. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments. And some of the comments recently, guys, I so appreciate your suggestions. My last border that I did that had the owls on it, that was the kind of the tiered border with the owls and the fall leaves punch. I'm going to see if I can add a little piece on the end of that to tell you more of how I made that little piece to put in the punch up against here. In that one punch, I had a piece of cardboard and it was only 1/4 of an inch wide. And it was about 2 inches long, so it didn't go all the way down inside the punch. I just put it on either side of it here. And then I marked halfway down that 1/4 of an inch piece to get my 1/8 inch line to line up the other piece. So watch the border if you haven't seen it, and then it'll make more sense to you when I'm telling you where I put that piece of cardboard. Okay, so I've got this cut and I've got the pieces kind of trimmed up a little bit to make it look more like blades of grass. Okay, so focus. Yeah, that looks like more grass. Now, on the back of this, I'm just going to put a few little foam squares. I don't want to pop this up a whole lot. I just want to give it a little bit of dimension. to make some of the grass look like it's closer and some of it looks like it's further away. Okay, and then in amongst that, I can now add a little bit of adhesive. In case it gets pushed down, it'll stay there and it just gives it a little more dimension. Take the backing off the foam squares so that they'll be sticky. Sorry guys, sometimes I don't explain this very well so that you know what I'm doing. And now I'm going to add this to the bottom of this border. Now I'm going to line these swells, the top part of these swells, I'm going to align these up on the edge of this border right here. Okay, so it pops it up just a little bit, but not a lot. And there's most of the border. Isn't that pretty? I just think that that is just such a gorgeous fall leaf color for the flowers. But yeah, one more thing I want to do. I have some pumpkins here, different colors that I have punched out using the pumpkin patch punch that I got these pumpkins and some leaves out of. So I've just got various colors and I'm going to kind of cluster them and put them on the fence. Okay, so um, just take one of them, put some repositionable adhesive on it. There's two. And just kind of offset this, kind of right next to it. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the next one. Maybe put it down just a little bit, the brown one. Now I'm going to put one up on the back. Okay, see that little cluster? And I think I'll add one more off to the side over here. Okay, now I'm going to adhere this to the fence. Let's see, I'm going to put it right about here. Under the flowers. And I'm going to do the same thing on another one on the other side. Maybe just won't have as many. Yeah, I'm just going to put 3 on this time. And I'm going to put those right here. Okay. Now I have those little leaves and I'm also going to kind of cluster on the fence. This is a lifter stick. And Creative Memories had these briefly until they sold out that advisors were able to get. for our customers for Oktoberfest. So I'm going to use this, and it makes it really easy to lift up these little leaves. So you guys get a hold of your advisors, because they should have gotten some for you for your Croptoberfest. So make sure you sign up for your Croptoberfest if you want one of these, because I know that she's got a lot of other really fun things for you too. So this has just a little soft rubber tip on it, kind of like that. And then for all these little pieces of things, you just dab it, pick it up, and you've got it. And it's so easy. Add that together. Okay. And then we're going to add these to the fence. And we'll do another cluster. Gets a little hard working with these little pieces, but it's so worth it by the time you're done. Okay, and we need one more cluster. There we go. And it's all done. What do you think, guys? Isn't it pretty? I just love this. So, the other thing I wanted to show you is being able to put them on a page. And I have this page that I folded the paper. So this is out of the sunflower patch paper pack. This is a really pretty sunflower yellow, bright and pretty, and it has just some yellow with white dots on the back of it. So I'm going to use that as the base. Now, a really simple thing you can do with another sheet of paper is just fold the corners in. Okay, so this was just a regular 12 by 12 sheet, and I just folded the corners into the center, and then it can go on the page like this. So you just put corner to corner and a fold, and then adhere it down, and you've got a really pretty decorated page. Then you can add your border. Isn't that pretty? The other thing you can do is, if you like the other side better, you can just turn it over, and this isn't quite so busy. And there you've got your border piece with your fence and everything on it. Isn't that pretty? I just think that I love that so much. And if this isn't enough grass for you, you can take the leftover pieces and you can put the pieces down in and add some more grass, stuff like that if you'd like. So there's other options, and there it is. So I'm done. So if you liked this border and you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do that. And if you click on that bell, it will tell you when my next video has come out. I try to do them Tuesday mornings, but I don't always make it. Working full time and running my creative memories business and husband and two kids and three grandkids, I get a little busy. So, but anyway, it would be so much fun if you would subscribe for me. That would be marvelous. And if you have questions or if there's other things that you would like to suggest, put them in the suggestions here on the video, or you can email them to me, deannecmc2@yahoo.com. I also have a Facebook group called Let's Scrapbook with Deanne. If you want to look that up and request to join, I try to show the new products that are coming out, any other new ideas that I may have happen to have along the way that I don't share in my videos. So join me and join my group. And one of these days, I'm going to do a virtual paper buffet and stuff like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. And like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. And until I see you next time with another new border, have a great week. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye bye.